What if Jesus had written his own book? Not had it written about him, but actually sat down and written it himself in his own hand. A lot of people feel like that would have helped. One text, straight from the source, no confusion, everyone finally on the same page. But I want to push back on that. I think that such a book would not have united his followers. It would have split them for good. Think about it. Even people from the same country, speaking the same language, argue endlessly about how to read a constitution, or a will, or a piece of history. So why do we still imagine that one perfect text could lock in agreement forever? Where does that hope even come from? Part of it is that writing just feels obvious. So the words are right there on the page. You can see them. And so we assume that the meaning is just as plain as the letters. And honestly, with simple sentences, it usually is. And we do that all day long, so we get used to it, and we start to believe that texts mean one clear thing, especially the first time we read them. There's a force behind this. When you read something, it really feels like it should be read your way, the way you are reading it. And underneath that, there is an underlying assumption we really genuinely can't live without. That what seems reasonable and right for me is just right. Not right for me, right, period. And experience backs that up often enough that we figure everyone else should read things the way we do, as long as they are reading correctly, of course. So agreement starts to feel like it's right there within reach. And here's the thing. We kind of have to think this way to function. You can't go through life leaving every possibility open at every turn. At some point you have to commit. The scales tip and you pick one reading instead of hovering forever between, well, it could mean this or it could mean that. And because that's a choice you make, something you're responsible for, it quietly deepens your conviction that your reading is the correct one. Our own writing makes this worse. So when you sit down to write something, you usually have one specific thing in mind, something you are trying to say. So you try to close off any room for possible misunderstanding. And when you read it back, you assume you nailed it. So you get comfortable believing that every text has one right interpretation. Now, that feels true when you are writing about concrete, simple stuff. But most of us never really learn to write about the subtle, complicated things. So we never learn just how elusive meaning can actually get. And then there's the part we don't like to admit. We read what comes easily to us, and we surround ourselves with people who already think like we do. And what we call agreement, a lot of the time, is just a small, cozy, mutual adoration club scaled up across a whole society. The people who disagree with us make us uncomfortable. so we avoid them. And the more distance grows between us, the more that distance hardens into prejudice. And once that happens, it gets really easy. Easy to blame the disagreement on them, on their bad faith, on their stupidity. Instead of asking hard questions about how we read and what we are reading, we stew in our own juices and we tell ourselves, look around, everyone agrees. Agreement is possible, but what we don't notice is that the world where everybody agrees is a world we built ourselves. And because we want that agreement so badly, we trick ourselves. We downplay the passages that don't fit, we skip the hard parts, and we tell ourselves that this time, with this new text, it will all just work out somehow.